Alright, welcome to Horrific Horror Review. Here with Eric again.
Hello.
And we're going to talk The Exorcist, the original, and The Shining. Jack Nicholson Shining.
1980s. Stanley Kubrick, The Shining.
Yes. 1973 for The Exorcist.
1973. You know, I thought those two movies were a lot closer together in release date.
I did too.
There's something about The Shining that feels old. Older than 1980.
Right? So many conspiracy theories. So many things about that movie. You want to talk about The Shining first, or you want to talk Exorcist?
Let's do Shining and get that out of the way. Because
Okay.
that seems to be at the front of my brain.
Okay.
Again, you watched these, and I did not.
I did.
But I've seen them.
Of course. They're staples.
Yeah, especially The Shining. That's one of those movies, it's kind of like... man, I've seen a million documentaries about it. I've heard a gajillion opinions about it. It's Kubrick, so there's so much myth that surrounds just Kubrick,
right?
You know, like,
right.
But Nicholson, Shelley Duvall,
right?
Fuck, man, so good in that movie.
So good.
Tragic woman. Have you seen her recently?
No, I haven't.
Sucks.
No.
She's gone crazy.
She always kind of seemed there already. I watched her, like she did the Popeye movie.
I was going to bring up Popeye.
And then she did that.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Mm-hmm. And then I remember she did a kids' TV show. It was like Fraggle Rock thing.
She did.
Something. I don't remember.
Well, I don't remember exactly what it was either.
I didn't watch it. I was too old for it.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like a kids' show thing on like public television or something.
You're right. She was on something weird.
Or maybe it was on like Showtime or HBO even. I don't know. Maybe somebody picked it up. But it was and then disappeared. You know, like a lot of those actresses from that era, and then they turned back up with like big time pill addictions and fuck.
This is one of the things about The Shining and Shelley Duvall. She's one of those actresses that would never make it today. Ever. She would never, you wouldn't see her in a movie today. She's gotta be a Victoria's Secret model.
Right, that body specific.
Yeah, and not only that, but face specific. You know, Shelley Duvall is not.
Or they would use her as some strange.
Yeah, she would definitely not be the main character.
Right,
she'd be a ghost or some freak, a weirdo.
Disabilities, something.
She would not be
I agree.
Jack Nicholson's wife.
Right.
Jack Nicholson's one of those actors. Yeah, he's a force of nature.
Yeah, completely.
So
whatever reason, he's amazing.
Whatever time period he would make. I have a feeling he would make it today if he was just starting out.
Still,
as opposed to Shelley Duvall.
He's got who
doesn't stand a chance. She'll probably do a lot of theater, never make it into the movies.
Like you said, I just watched them. So, like, there's a couple things about this movie that just have always appealed to me.
Okay.
And this time watching it, I knew we were going to do the podcast for this, so I was paying...
super close attention.
Yeah, to detail, as opposed to the storyline, because I know the storyline.
What did you notice?
So, the opening... The very opening is one of the best openings I've ever seen wanting to make films in life.
Okay.
Can you hear my dogs barking? I hope you guys can too. That's great. Timing.
Chihuahuas.
But it's a helicopter opening, and it's got him driving up to the Overlook Hotel.
It starts with them in the car.
And it's an amazing helicopter sequence. And I've always felt if you had that budget, you could make almost any movie great with that helicopter opening. But it's got the most dooming music looming, like he's driving to hell. It's the most evil thing.
He's definitely driving to their doom. You get that impression.
Initially, it's just the drive up to the interview.
Right.
And then he's got to drive back with the family, which is, again, with really weird helicopter angles and a really weird storyline too. They're talking about cannibalism in the car and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Were they talking about the Donner Party?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Like she brought it up, thinking, "Is this the area that it happened?" And he was like, "No." And then the kid was like, "What's that?"
He's like, "Relax."
Right? And the kid's like, "I know about cannibalism." And he's like, "Yeah." And see, the kid saw it on TV. Right. You know, he's real sarcastic from the get.
Yeah, salty dude.
The kid with the finger that. it affected me from get-go. It's, you know how everybody has their thing?
Oh, yeah.
The finger got me. Like, I'm a full-grown man, and in the dark at night watching that movie alone, I still get creeped out at that point. It makes me put my feet up on top of the couch kind of thing.
Danny's not here, Mrs. Torrance.
Oh, over and over, yeah.
That bugs you, huh? Right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it's, you know, like, and you see it like he's brushing his teeth or something. Or it's not even, I can't remember, he's in the bathroom.
That was the scene that bugged me, when he was in the bathroom, looking at himself, doing the finger thing.
Right.
Going back and forth, talking to, what was his name? The character that lived in his mouth?
Tony?
Toby?
Tony.
I think Tony.
It's Tony.
I think it is Tony.
It's Tony. You're
right. And
because it's Danny.
His
finger Tony.
And Tony. Yeah. That I do remember the bathroom scene. The bathroom scene where Danny's talking to Tony.
Yeah,
because there's another bathroom scene.
He shows him what's going to happen at the hotel, and that's my next really graphic favorite moment from the movie is the blood gushing out of the elevator.
And I love the
kid's face.
I love
his eyes are
the blood gushing out of the elevator, and then the cut to Danny with his eyes open and his mouth as wide as it.
Almost Parkinson's. His head's just bumping.
That kid did a really good job.
And again, we could do a whole episode about how fucked up kids got making these movies, like Linda Blair, and we were talking about, which again we're going to talk about The Exorcist. So and some kids that got fucked up making movies
for sure.
And so. One of the things that killed me is I did a road trip when I was 17, 18 years old. I wanted to go to that hotel. And I lived in Washington, so I was real close to Mount Hood. Go down to Oregon, check it out. What I didn't know, because this is pre-internet, and you just didn't do research when you were a kid.
I remember.
I didn't know that the outside of the building was one photo shoot. The inside of the building was a completely different hotel. And the maze outside, the hedge maze was in a completely different country.
Wow.
So I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, from the minute you go, like, you get to the outside parking lot where he pulled up for the interview, where it shows him. And jazzed. I'm ready to see the carpet. I want to, like, find a way to get a big wheel in there to ride around. You know what I'm talking about? I want to see that big room where he's typing all day. And, if I'm in here, get the fuck out room, None of that was there. That's a different hotel.
What's it look like in reality?
In reality, it looks like a log cabin. It's a ski lodge that is open all year round.
Oh, okay. It is.
Yeah. Okay. So, in a different note, I went back last summer, and I wanted to take my daughter to it because I took her on. I take her on all my horror adventures
for sure.
And we were driving right by there. It's a quick drive up to the hotel. So I'm like, look, we're at the Shining Hotel, and I'd already cushioned the blow that it was only the exterior and the mountain behind it. Everything else was bullshit.
Gotcha.
But it was cool, like the scene where the snow is drifted up so high on the building they slide out the second story window.
Very cool.
That is that same exterior hotel. Okay. So very cool that you could see where it was.
Super cool, yeah.
My kid recognized it right away.
Right.
So we go inside, and I'm showing her like the gift shop, and we're looking at like the old like mailboxes for room residents.
The old-timey
just old school shit, yeah. And I see this guy with one arm, and he's making Jello shots of all things. Wow. Like, he worked there. And I was like, hey, when's the gift shop open up? Do you have any room 237 stuff? Shining memorabilia. My kid wants a keychain.
That's some Shining shit.
And he says, well, we don't sell any of that stuff here. He goes, we're, technically not the hotel from the movie. It's not the interior and all that shit. He goes, but we do have a cool souvenir that I know about. If you hang on a second, I'll be right back. So he goes in the back somewhere, and he comes out, and he's got an axe, like an old school axe, and it says, "Here's Johnny," carved down the handle.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, oh, shit. And he's like, I'll take pictures for you, which I found to be hilarious because...
He's got one
hand. Exactly. But he was a pro. He got it done. But, like, he took pictures of me and my kid and stuff holding the axe. So, like, I was wearing blue jeans at the time, and I wished I had a red plaid or something. Right. But, like, I messed my hair all up, and I was, like, dragging one foot holding the axe, and I was standing in the hotel, so it's as close as it could get to cool. Awesome. But a completely different experience, by the way. But,
very cool.
So, the carpet, another thing.
Yeah,
like
the carpet.
Like, I don't know if you've seen my stairway is that carpet, and I have socks that are that carpet. I love that.
There are a couple of patterns in that hotel that were fucking.
All of them were over the top, crazy,
really psychedelic. Really,
even the ballroom that was so gold and pink, like it almost hurts your eyes to see it on the Blu-ray.
Flashback inducing. watching that.
Right.
You'll find yourself in a bad way if you find yourself looking too hard at those patterns.
Right.
There's a lot of... It was a beautiful movie, but it's Kubrick, you know.
Yeah, so it's going to be...
He's all about, visual...
And audio. I didn't recognize as much either, but the audio is amazing. That's the thing about Kubrick.
And audio. And the story. And he's...
And Easter eggs. The weird shit sitting on a table.
He's an amazing filmmaker because he understands all the senses that he's coming at you with. All of them.
And he tickles them all.
All of them. Even the ones you're not fucking aware of. He's...
it's fun. I'm a huge fan of his, but I have to admit, I bought the box set, and I think there's 2 or even maybe 3 movies in that box set, the Kubrick collection, that I've still never watched.
Which are?
Never seen. I know one of them is Barry Lyndon.
Never saw it.
See, one of those weird ones that made it into the Kubrick collection.
Never saw it.
God, I can't even remember now.
Kubrick, 2001.
Oh, I did watch the other one, but it was the Lolita version. His Lolita version, which is just wrong.
Okay.
But, yeah, Barry Lyndon. That was the one I'd never seen.
So, Eyes Wide Shut, Clockwork Orange, Dr. Strangelove, which, for some reason, Dr. Strangelove never struck a chord with me.
Me either. It's not a great movie.
Full Metal Jacket, on the other fucking hand, is that one, it's one of those movies that I've watched so many times now, and
I know almost every word.
And everyone in that movie is amazing. Matthew Modine is great in that fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
Man. What's his name gets all the credit. Pyle.
For the start of the movie, I consider that to almost be 2 different movies. There's the boot camp. And
it really is. It's split. It's split into 2 flicks.
Is it Vincent D'Onofrio?
It is. Right? Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio gets most of the juice when people start talking Full Metal Jacket. But Matthew Modine was really good in that movie. You know who else was good in that movie?
Han Solo.
Tex.
No, wait, it wasn't Han Solo. He was in. Harrison Ford was in Apocalypse Now. But
Harrison Ford was in Apocalypse Now. He was also in the Guns of Navarone, wasn't he?
I don't know.
He was in another...
When I think of Full Metal Jacket, my first thought always is the dude, Charlie Don't Surf. Smelling napalm in the morning. They steal his surfboard in the...
Duvall.
Robert Duvall. There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's my first thought. Sitting there on the beach with the fucking Calvary cowboy hat, no shirt.
The yellow
fucking
kerchief.
Surf. Yeah, exactly. And the smoke bombs fucking going off in the back. Smells like victory.
He's great. He's great in that movie. Apocalypse Now is, they still say, hey man, there are a couple of those bodies. Right. they might have been real bodies,
So let's talk about Lloyd, who was the caretaker before Jack.
I wanted to talk about him. I'm glad you...
Because it's a confusing character for me in the movie.
Okay.
He says that he's the previous caretaker. He's the one that killed his wife and his daughters.
Twin daughters.
Which makes sense. That falls into it.
Right.
But when he tells Jack, that he's always been there. He's the caretaker. He's always been
Grady.
There. And then you see him, Delbert Grady. Yeah, exactly. That's the guy I'm talking about. Yeah, Lloyd's the bartender. Sorry. So anyway.
Oh yeah.
Explain that to me. How Jack Nicholson is the picture at the end of the movie.
Okay.
The New Year's ball picture, looking like he owns the place.
Right in the center.
Right in the center. Right in the bottom, as if it was his selfie.
I'll tell you what, and here's
what's
my
your
opinion.
take on?
If I'm
and he said too that he felt like he was at home. Right. Like when he went to the interview, it was like he said that he felt like he already knew what was around every corner.
My opinion.
Shoot.
The next groundskeeper will be the next guy in the center of that picture, and he will be in the background somewhere.
Okay. So if things start to go awry and they need a little push or shove, is Jack Nicholson's character going to be in the bathroom washing that guy off?
I believe Jack Nicholson will be...
Like he's stuck there now forever?
Yep. He is another ghost in the Overlook.
Which, another thing too, for how much I love this movie, I've missed a few things. Yeah. And this time I caught on to one that I just hadn't noticed before. I know it from the book a bit, and never really knew they addressed it in the movie. He told the kid as they're walking into the hotel, he told Danny, he said that he believes that this place is actually on Indian burial ground.
Right.
Or the guy that's giving him the tour tells him somebody.
Yeah, someone does mention.
And he scoffs about it, and they put up quite a fight apparently or something.
Yeah.
So
which is a very Stephen King thing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know.
So that put a whole new spin on why the tragedies were happening, I guess.
The catalyst.
Yeah, exactly.
To turn that place into what it was. Yeah, I agree. You know, in the book, it burns down. It explodes and burns down.
Right.
Which, you know, this movie is so different from the book.
Right. We were talking about that before we started recording, how hard it is to not compare movies and books. If you subtract the supernatural from The Shining, it's very much the story of a man going mad. Yes.
Very much. I mean...
Like socially deprived.
You could say that it was all in his head. You really could. And that his son is also fucking shit nuts. Which makes sense. It's his son. So maybe they're both just fucking crazy.
She was the abused wife.
And she's just this poor woman with a crazy kid and a fucking nut husband, and she's locked up in this hotel. That's a real possibility. And that's what I love about Kubrick. And he definitely leans on the supernatural side of it, though. You know, it's definitely a ghost story.
And the woman in 237, woman. Jesus Christ, with that woman. Like, she's
that really bothered me as a kid.
Euro trash looking supermodel, 7 foot tall, lanky legs. Mm-hmm. Totally naked, too. Totally nude. And he just walks up and, you know, like, we're going to kiss now. Not nude in a
sexual way.
No. Like, it was striking a pose almost like an android.
In an almost clinical way. She's naked.
Right.
It's not like in a desirable way. It's in a...
matter-of-factly.
Yeah, and it's almost like something bad's gonna fucking happen way.
Right.
Yeah, and her
he
back
starts
was
kissing
all
her,
gnarly.
and that's when he looked in the mirror, and that's, as a kid, that affected me.
Me too.
The makeup, the special effects.
Great makeup.
Oh my god.
The makeup in this movie.
And then, as she's coming at him, getting older. Like, she got older from the time he was kissing her till the time she was chasing. Yeah, boobs got, like, more saggy and elasticy and weird.
And I hate to say this, but, you know, I don't know if it's, like, our culture and the idea of the witch.
Right,
But an old, naked woman with her hair down, cackling at you.
Right.
Screams witch to me.
Right,
you know?
right.
And she was scary. The old version of that woman that he's making out with in that bathroom was scary as fuck.
He had no explanation for why that happened. It scared him. He comes back to their room, and she's, you know, waiting with bated breath of who strangled Danny, you know, this woman. And he says nothing. And it really bugged me that, you know, like, he's obviously kind of a dick husband, and the house kind of already did have him, true.
That's when Kubrick is showing the audience the house has got this guy. You know, when he comes back and he doesn't say shit to his wife about what happened.
Yeah, like any normal dude would be like, you know what the fuck I just saw?
Yeah, but the house has got him.
He's not leave out the part where you're making out with her or whatever. But
he's not on his family's side anymore. He's on the
house. He never seemed like he was.
No, that's a really good fucking point.
There was the drinking douchebag that pulled out the arm and then made excuses about it and then talked down to her constantly, you know, like regardless. His demeanor was he was snide and condescending about everything. Like, for the longest time, I thought he was a stepkid for the way he treated him.
Right. His family, for their small size, he still treated as burdensome. Right. As agreeable as his wife was.
It felt like he was that old like high school football star where when he's sitting alone at night with the remote control, he's thinking, I could have been somebody.
Nicholson definitely plays the character of the I should have been, would have been. You know? And his inability to write this book, you know, is the antithesis of that. You know, I can't write because he was a published author in the book. I don't know if he was in the movie. I can't remember, but he'd written a book that had been published, and he taught, which pays shit.
Right.
Know.
This was that great opportunity to make some scratch,
right? Like
have all the food provided, and the solitude of getting my writing done.
And I can fucking crank out this fucking book I want to write.
And in the movie, not one line, not one fucking line. Like, I mean, he types the, all work and no play thing, but like, other than that, there's,
over and over and over, pages and pages, and you know what?
And that scene is crazy because she just keeps going through one at a time. Which me personally, after like the third or fourth, I would have grabbed into the meat somewhere in the middle and saw if it was like that. When she goes through the first 30 individually, it's exhausting.
When Shelley Duvall looks at Jack Nicholson's manuscript that he's been working on all winter. Right. And realizes that her husband has been writing the same sentence over and over and over and fucking over
and there was that scene where he just freaked out on her for interrupting. She was going to bring sandwiches. She was trying to be, she was trying to encourage him, and
that was a great scene. Shelley Duvall was really good.
Why don't you get the fuck out? He says, I'm busy, and now how long it's gonna take me to get back to that spot, right? And you're thinking to yourself at the time. I was thinking, he's a writer, and she should have known not to fucking come in there. Yeah, I was on his side until you find out that he wasn't writing jack shit.
And I have to admit,
jack shit, get it?
Yeah, right. I have to admit, I could relate to Nicholson in a lot of ways in this movie. I get it. I get when the words don't come, but I had a thought that Nicholson thought he was writing. Like what he was.
And again, that's where the hotel had taken a hold of him.
Right. I think he did think he was writing something.
Genuinely,
I really
thought
do.
There was something there.
I think he thought something was coming out. Part of him, anyway. Right. But his
because there were parts where he was a loving father though. Like he was saying. He was telling that dude, it sounded fakey almost, but he was like, I love the boy. I would do anything. I would never let anybody hurt the boy. And I thought to myself, anybody but you dick. But
there's a scene where he's sitting on the bed with Dan.
One of the most powerful scenes in the movie, actually. And he's supposed to be sleeping. And he says how exhausted he is. But there's so much to do. Right. And I kept thinking to myself, come on, kid, you're asking all the questions that... Ask the question of what is it you gotta fucking do, dude?
Right.
What? He's just sitting there. It's that weird scene where he wants to go get his fire engine from upstairs, and she's like, he just went to bed. You can't go up there, and it's got that whole abused family feel to it.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I promise, I'll be quiet. And the whole time it's building up of he's gonna wake him up, he's gonna get his ass kicked. And instead he's just sitting there awake, and he tells him he'd never hurt him, and he's like, you'd never hurt me and mommy, right? And he's like, never.
Which is a fucked up question for a kid to ask their father.
But he sees
you'd never hurt me and mom, right?
You seem to be going a bit crazy.
If I ever heard that question asked of me,
right,
I would rethink every fucking thing in my life.
Right. But he was already nuts.
But yeah, the house had him by then. Yeah. He didn't care. He was in another place. But it's a great ghost story.
It's a great scene.
Scatman Crothers is really good. I hated that he died in that. I hated that as a kid.
I hated how fast he died too.
Boom!
He's coming to the rescue, and he makes it in the building, and you're like, oh, at least I thought maybe he'd run with Danny for a while or something.
His house in Florida?
His pit pad
was amazing.
His fucking afro
those paintings,
Black Dynamite. That's what I was thinking.
They were fucking awesome.
The naked black lady black velvet paintings.
They were. It was so cool.
It was so appropriate for the time.
Look at this motherfucker's house.
Right? Bachelor Pad City.
Scatman Carruthers. Love that guy's name.
The Shining.
Yeah, you got the shine.
Yeah. It was funny the first time they acknowledge it was when he asked him if he likes ice cream. But he's talking to the kid's mom. He gets all big-eyed, and then he's like, let's go for ice cream.
Calls him Doc.
Yeah. How'd you know he's Doc?
A lot of good actors in that movie. I love the guy who plays Delbert Grady.
Yeah.
He's a spooky motherfucker.
He is a spooky motherfucker. And the way he said it. Very matter-of-fact, or almost like a butler. But you might have to be more aggressive about it.
Yeah, he was definitely telling him, you need to go take care of fucking business,
right? He's like, I taught my daughters.
Right.
And my wife.
And it was good. It was really good.
And that flashback, too, where it shows the little girls wanting to play, and then the little girls fucking, like, just brutalized through the hallway.
And kind of, like, not in pieces, but mangled on the floor.
Yeah, just blood all over
and
the
it's
walls.
Like a quick shot.
Oh, yeah,
You know, it's not, they don't linger on it. It's
most of that movie comes with powerful, quick flashes.
Mm-hmm.
And The Exorcist, too. Like, that's one of my favorite scenes, is when they show that face. In The Exorcist, that the Pazuzu face, whatever, but it's like it's completely
all black.
Yeah,
it's surrounded by
so
shadow,
quick,
and it's really brief.
And you're like, it's one of those things where you're like, did I just fucking see that? Holy shit!
Let's talk about The Exorcist.
All right.
I'm Irish Catholic, raised Irish Catholic on the south side of fucking Chicago. That's like super Catholic,
right.
So this movie's kind of legend on the south side. I don't know where you come from, but where I come from, this fucking movie is like a dangerous thing. It's like a gun in a closet.
Okay.
Be careful watching The Exorcist.
It's like a Ouija board for you guys?
It's like a Ouija board.
Okay.
It will open you up to shit that you might not be prepared to deal with. And I believe that. I believe even at 40 years fucking old, I believe that shit to this day. I will not watch The Exorcist all the way through in one shot. I will not fucking do it. I will watch a little bit here, a little bit there, and then finish it off over here. But I will not fucking watch the whole thing. And, you know, it's a superstition of mine. But that movie is so hard to fucking watch. Hard to watch.
It broke a lot of
rules.
barriers. A lot of rules. A lot of...
People were passing out in the fucking theater. Passing out, throwing up.
Things that...
Running out of the theater.
A child should never say. You know?
Oh, filthy as shit.
Oh, my God.
Things that a little girl should never say to her mother. Like,
and again, let me reiterate, 1973.
Disturbing.
So yeah.
Disturbing. We're 3 years out of the 60s. That shit's... They're saying that shit. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah. The way she talks to those priests, encouraging them.
It's fucking...
The high-pressure fucking vomiting.
And that's the least of it. And that's
banging with the crucifix.
That's what everybody, you know, and that's... I heard about the vomiting up the pea soup, you know, way before I saw the movie.
Do you know what affected me a lot more than the graphic nature of it? The mom issue. That struggle with the dead mom when she's, dear me, why you leave me? The dude's mom. And like, she's saying, I'll talk to your mom while I'm here in hell. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You don't know about that? Yeah, the priest's mom, yeah.
I thought, okay.
Like, he's harboring all that guilt of his mom passing away. Because at first she's like, you know, she can't remember how to fucking do anything, and the dementia's kicking in, and he's worried about her, and they don't have the money to put her in a home and stuff, and the uncle's like, what do you want to do? You know, stick her in the state hospital and shit.
Because you're a priest.
Yeah.
You don't have money.
And that was right after he had just confessed that he had lost his faith, you know? And then, so it was like, it was almost like this thing came at a perfect time for him anyway, but then it just shoved it in his face, like it forced him to get over his mom's death quick, but it was...
That's a good point.
And I thought it was really cool that he came from a fighter's background too.
Right.
He was a boxer.
Right.
So he had all these like very manly elements, but constantly smoking and stuff, and it was just...
He was super masculine.
Yeah, like it made me wonder the backstory of how he became a priest to begin with, because he didn't seem the type.
Right.
But it was...
Well, you know what? I remember when I was a kid meeting priests like that.
Stand up ones.
You know, smoking cigarettes, just kind of, you know,
see, that's another thing that I wrote down in my notes that I want to talk about, is one of those movies that really shows you back in the day how much we've changed. The doctor was smoking while giving her shots, discussing shit with her mom. Like, I'm like, you're standing in a fucking hospital smoking. And it's funny because they thought nothing of it, you know? And then...
How filthy dirty is that?
Yeah, right.
You're in a fucking hospital.
Like,
but you're, you know.
How now, like, you look on your toothpaste, it says recommended by 4 out of 5 dentists, you know. It used to be that way with cigarettes. It was like, your doctor says Lucky Strike's the best, you know.
They're way less likely to fuck you up.
Well, it was so awkward to see, you know. Like when I very first moved to California, when I found out you couldn't smoke there, I was like, how how does that work? Yeah. I couldn't picture going into Denny's. I couldn't picture going to a bar. I couldn't picture...
Right.
What do you mean you can't smoke?
And now it's like that everywhere.
You know? Yeah, I get it now because it's everywhere. But watching it in the movie really brought it up of the smoking all the time. But
yeah, sometimes I'll see people smoking.
That movie had a strong intro for me too, because I love the archaeological... You know, I love the mummy digs, the fucking Indiana Jones shit. So I was sold from the get-go on the dig.
Anytime you've got a man in a safari outfit in the desert
with a paintbrush in his shirt
and with a bunch of like Arabs around him and fucking their typical desert gear.
Isn't it funny how there's 500 like slave-looking employees, but when something good comes up, that white guy is holding it up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Look what I found. He does the last 3 brushes with the dirt.
Which this is totally off topic. But that, I can't help but think of like all of the like porters and like Sherpas that take guys up to the top of Everest.
Right.
You know, like
they're like, I've been up here 741 times.
Right.
You know, like
great. Good for you, you rich asshole.
And thanks for leaving your trash up here too. Have you ever seen those pictures? There's so much trash up there.
And bodies. It's
bad.
Pretty amazing.
So Marin, fucking Father Marin, after the dig and stuff, he goes out because he has that little piece of the Pazuzu face,
right?
And he goes out to the statue,
right?
And that scene and the music, and when I saw it, when I saw it, it was VHS tapes.
Sweet.
So sweet ass pause, rewind, fast forward, super easy. You know, like not so easy on my PlayStation controller, but like. It took me like 3 times of pausing and dragging back to realize that it had a big cock. Like I didn't I thought it was just part of the thing, but it had this serpent wrapped up around the cock and shit. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that is like the giver of evil right there, right?
You know
and
what?
And the music and everything, it was just, really it was scary. And
what do you think
of the great start. Heretic?
I love that movie.
It's in my list of don't talk about it on this episode. I have mixed emotions. I liked it like a guilty pleasure, I guess.
It is. It's a guilty pleasure.
It's a piece of trash.
It's a total piece of shit.
But
I can watch it all the way through without fucking feeling like I'm
in teenager Linda Blair too. It works for me.
My soul is in jeopardy of being.
But it's The Locusts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. James Earl Jones. Interesting. Weird movie. Weird fucking movie.
That was really like who ran out of money or who had anything
weird. It was a weird movie.
It was like put on by the mob.
It was like, how did we get to here? You know, like it was a real change in vibe.
Totally.
Completely. But yeah, a teenage what's her name?
Reagan,
yeah. What's her name?
Linda Blair.
Linda Blair, that's her. How could I forget? Yeah, she was smoking as
as
a
the
young
teen
woman.
Yeah.
She was badass looking. The Exorcist is hard for me to watch. That girl goes from being a little girl to being
sweet and innocent, wants a pony.
A shredded, just wasted sack.
Like, I'm pretty sure that was some of the most vile shit I had heard to date.
Oh yeah, to this day.
Even it
is, and
stick your cock in my ass. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like, holy shit, that's a little girl.
The physicality, her whipping around and being
the backwards down the stairs.
It just beats the shit out of her. Like this demon that's possessing her is beating the shit out of this girl to the point where towards the end of the movie, she looks like she's rotting from the inside. She's falling apart. And
when they show
it hurts her.
When they pull up her shirt and they show her stomach and it says "Help me,"
like
on the inside, that shit was nuts.
It's fucked up. And the weird crab walk down the stairs, fucking
affected a whole generation of children.
Sent me running out of my fucking grandparents' living room, and I couldn't recover. Like I just couldn't.
That's when it became the real deal for me. Like. If that came down my stairs, I would have just dropped dead. I don't even think I would have ran. I probably would have just had like a mini kid heart attack. Just
a little kid heart attack.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with my heart, but it's still overpumped and I died.
Holy shit! Like, that was really disturbing. The Exorcist is a.
When she peed on the floor.
She pissed.
When and like that dude's talking about his trip. This is another thing I caught this time around because there's a lot of things I didn't. this guy is talking about going on a trip, and they're all singing and around the piano. The father's playing, and she comes in, and the first thing she says before she pees is, "You're gonna die."
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, "Oh shit! What a sweet little girl thing to say."
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then she just stands there and pees.
Yeah.
So weird. Like, so weird.
And I didn't bring this up. I watched a documentary about The Exorcist maybe 2 months ago, and it was about, what if Reagan wasn't possessed? What if she was just the victim of sexual abuse? And this guy went through all of the traits and shit
floating 3 feet off the bed.
That's yeah.
Come on.
That's there are certain scenes. And then there's the face,
Yeah.
But 99% of the shit that's in that movie could be explained by sexual abuse.
That's horrible then.
Yeah. Like, everything that you see from her in that movie are things that have been recorded and done to them. Like, girls who have experienced sexual abuse have done all that shit to themselves that girl did in that movie. And that was really fucking alarming. And again, hard fucking movie to watch,
right.
Man.
It deals with a lot of issues.
It deals with a lot of hardcore shit that people are really uncomfortable with. You don't want to talk about sex with your mother. You especially don't want to talk about it in the fucking licking cocks and shit sense. Right. Like, no.
2 preachers.
Yeah, and 2 priests.
Egging them on and telling them,
Yeah,
priests,
and I don't know. I grew up with a lot of priests around, and I grew up with, that Catholic spookiness. Catholicism is spooky. There's a spooky side to Catholicism, like a secret. They definitely treat things like, I'd ask questions about certain things and be like, well, you're not ready for that yet. Like, what the fuck do you mean, man?
Celebrate their misery.
There's something about Catholicism that's really spooky.
It's a gateway drug to the Illuminati.
This movie definitely tapped into the Catholic spookiness. But the whole idea of being possessed by a demon, like a legit demon, a devil. This movie paints that picture very well.
Very.
In a way that there's been a lot of
movies. Hasn't been rivaled, in my opinion.
No, there's been a lot of movies about
possession. There's been a lot of possession stuff.
But none of them touch this movie.
No. Still don't. Not to this day.
They've tried. They've tried to do it. There was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And
it's a good movie. I liked that movie a lot, actually.
Not a bad movie, but it's no Exorcist.
Or no, you know what? I'm thinking of a different movie. Let me back that out.
There have been quite a few.
Exorcism is the movie that I was thinking of, and I liked that a lot because it showed
a lot of them.
The campy behind the scenes fake preacher guy thing.
Right.
It was all like a showmanship thing until it got real, and then he was fucked and he didn't know what to do. But
there's been a lot about possession in the last 6 years, I'd say.
Paranormal Activity was the next thing because everybody got blown out from vampires from Twilight and Underworld and shit.
And then they went to ghosts and demons.
Yeah.
The Conjuring.
I really liked The Conjuring.
I did too.
It was
I like anything based on a true story.
Me too. Because it had a very Amityville horror feel to it.
Very much so.
It had the husband and wife team that I really liked their story situation anyway.
Totally. I can relate.
I liked the grainy feel. It looked 1975 to me.
Patrick Wilson, I think his name is, Night Owl. Mm-hmm. He looked very 1970s to me.
Totally.
His hair, his chops, and his clothes.
Chops,
and his wife's clothes as well. They did a good job. Whoever did the costumes in that movie did a really good
everything.
job.
The house, the setting, the cars,
the stuff. Just the stuff.
Even the Rent-A-Cop with his fucking porn mustache and shit.
Yeah, he was great. I liked that.
I liked him. He was such a non-believer that was just doing a security guard job.
Right.
And when the shit went down, he's like first
whoa.
one to be shitting.
Yeah. And then you know what? That person's always the first one to be shitting.
Usually, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That was a fun movie. It was. I talked about this with several friends a couple of years ago. How it was, to me, it was the newest, most refreshing horror thing I had seen in like 5 years.
The Conjuring.
Yeah. It brought it back for me. It made it fresh
did,
again.
huh?
It wasn't Jason 12. It wasn't fucking. I mean, and I love those, though.
You know what, though?
Wrong excuse.
I could do with a Jason 12 as opposed to another fucking Jason reboot.
True.
I'm just...
New and imaginative ways to kill people, you know. There's...
Platinum Dunes. Fuck you, Michael Bay. Fuck you again, you piece of shit. He just gets a hold of everything I love and then fucking distorts it into some fucking millennial turd. You know?
There's a lot of people that feel that way about J.J. Abrams, too, man. I'm digging him.
You know, I think enough people bash J.J. Abrams. I don't need to.
Exactly. And as much as you want to hate on him or whatever, the guy did Star Wars and Star Trek.
Who the fuck did that?
He gets to do autographs at Comic-Cons for the rest of his fucking life. He could be 150 in a wheelchair and still making $80
After
$100
he did
autograph.
Star Trek, I couldn't fucking believe they were handing him the keys to Star Wars.
It felt weird, right? I was like, this is a traitor move. He's gonna fucking shit on it. He's a Trekkie. I had problems with it too. I had so many scary things. This is all Disney. This is all happening too fast. Yeah. This is a guy who made a horror movie that didn't show us the monster, motherfucker. You know, like I was terrified of it. But you know, we can go on and on about Star Wars for the rest of my life.
I still don't.
How about you want to take a smoke?
Yeah.
All right,
I can do that.
We're gonna take a quick break.
Have a coffin nail.
All right, we're back. We're talking Shining and Exorcist. So you want to talk about Captain Howdy then? And the Ouija board?
You tell me about Captain Howdy.
Well, I was saying, what brought it up was that it frustrated me that they never explained where that came from, what that name represented. It was just Ouija board fun, which wouldn't work for Mom, but at the same time she said she talked to it all the time and you know, eventually became possessed, so it makes me wonder...
Through the Ouija board.
Yeah.
She was... So through fucking... I forgot about that part, because this has been forever since I saw that movie. So through the Ouija board is how she opened herself up. No.
It was the... I think it was the medallion that she got as a gift.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the deal.
I don't think
one of the things that got
dug
up that was from a wrong time period. And ended up filtering down because her mom was the movie star or whatever through a friend or her dad or whatever, because she had the absent dad too.
Right.
Which was another really weird scene in that movie where he didn't call on her birthday, he didn't stay in contact. It was a big deal that he was a douche. But then the one scene
no man in the house. It's another scary thing.
Yeah,
no man in the house.
No.
Just a woman and her daughter. That's scary.
And the one guy that got left alone for a minute got thrown out of a window.
Yeah, right. A lot of people died on the set of that movie. Or not necessarily on the set, but people who were involved with that movie died.
There was a lot of gloom and doom.
There was a lot of spooky shit that went on with that movie.
It's on my bucket list to go to that stairway.
Oh, really?
I would love to go to that.
Not me.
It was the backdrop of the Linda Blair photo op.
Oh, really?
That opening cover box scene.
Wow.
You know, where the preacher's standing in front of the house in the stairway and stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So it was a cool photo op, but I'd like to go there for real.
Great cover. Great, movie poster.
Right?
One of the greatest movie posters of all time is Max von Sydow.
You can hear the music in your head staring at that picture.
With the case and the hat. And the lighting is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just enough to catch his silhouette and some of the building. Mm-hmm. And you see the stairs there. And it's classic. It's like the Jaws head coming up at the girl. The cross-section of the ocean. You know, it's like that kind of classic.
Feel of fog. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, there is fog, isn't there? There's a lot of fog in that picture. Yeah. It was cool. You get a very Jack the Ripper vibe off of that picture. Yeah, I forgot about the Ouija board.
The Captain Howdy thing. It always made me want to know more about that.
There was that other movie.
You know, it's portraying itself as the devil, and then they come to terms with it being Pazuzu.
Right, so it's not
a trickster.
The devil.
No.
It's a devil.
Right. demon, whatever.
It's and was it an African demon?
Right? That's well, they were digging in Iraq.
It's Iraq. Okay.
It is where the opening scene was.
Okay.
But I don't know any of the culture behind it. You know, there's probably 12 spin-off stories about
for sure
the SETI that hung out with that or whatever.
The name Captain Howdy was used in another horror movie.
Right. D. Snyder, right?
Mm-hmm. D. Snyder in The Strangeland.
Strangeland.
Yeah.
Another weird fucking movie.
And I remember
tattoos on his head and shit.
Everybody was talking about that movie in my neighborhood. And everyone used the same video store. So I'd go to rent it and it's always out because everybody's talking about this fucking movie.
Fucking Blockbuster had 3 copies.
Finally it came around and I watched it. And it didn't hit me the way I guess it was hitting everybody else in the neighborhood. It just didn't strike me as being as good as...
I wanted it to for me either.
Everyone was talking about the scene where the girl's mouth is sewn shut and she screams and rips the stitches and, that's pretty brutal. But other than that, that's one gimmicky little thing. The rest of the movie was pretty fucking lame.
It was my first exposure to the internet predator.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That was the scary aspect for me, that you could misrepresent yourself.
Right. And he used the title Captain Howdy.
Right.
And I was watching that movie and I was like, where the fuck have I heard the name Captain Howdy before? And I was watching The Exorcist, part of it, years ago. And I was like, oh, shit. And there's something about when Linda Blair says that name even. There's something about hearing Captain Howdy come out of Linda Blair's mouth that is really fucking spooky.
So much of that. So many of the things that they got that little girl to say is traumatized for life. And I have met her as an adult, and she is super fucked up. So
is she?
Oh, yeah. She's a product of that environment. She's completely...
She's been married to rock stars.
She's a horrible man-hater now. She's just talking to me about getting an autograph was a labored effect. She was only talking to women, and she was only talking about her brand of cat food, which is all natural, organic, and she's like a total California Berkeley kind of hippie chick.
Linda Blair.
She wouldn't talk about
hippie cat
she was making the money and cashing in on the photo ops from The Exorcist, but you couldn't ask her anything in the Q&A that had to do with The Exorcist. She wouldn't comment on it.
That's like Shatner not talking about Star Trek.
Exactly. It was what every horror fruitcake was there for.
He's gonna talk about his fucking horse farm
and
fucking 2 fucking hours.
She talked about way too much forced sex and cocaine in the 80s, how traumatized it was, and how she runs cat shelters now. It was a huge plug for these cat shelters. Yeah. And it was an experience. She didn't even know, which I found to be funny later on, was we took a picture, the photo op was at a green screen.
Yeah.
It came with the Exorcist backdrop when they printed it out.
Oh, so you didn't know.
Well, no, I knew, but she didn't know. She wasn't doing anything that had to do with the Exorcist.
No way.
It was part of her contract.
So she didn't know.
Yeah, so when these hit online, she was all kinds of a hater.
Was she pissed?
Yeah, her Facebook posts were you didn't have my permission to do this. And they're you signed permission for a green screen, which means we would fucking have,
if we want to put Delaware
we want to put behind it. Yeah. So it didn't break any pornography rules or child abuse or whatever. So it was legal and legit.
Okay.
And people paid tons of money for it, and they were at a horror convention. What the fuck did she expect to be the backdrop?
I don't know what
cats. Fuck. It would have been funny if there was 400 cats and you call her Cat Lady. It would have been worth the money then.
But I hate when people who are famous for a particular thing.
And
they're making money off of that. They're making money off of this particular thing. It's not like they're out and about and you're fucking bugging them about the fucking Enterprise. I keep bringing up William Shatner.
Right.
But I know he does this. I know he won't talk about Star Trek sometimes. He's just not in the fucking mood today. I'm talking about my fucking horses and
Priceline.
That's right. I'm not talking about Star Trek today. I won't fucking do it.
And it's weird because that's all people want to hear about. It was
when
I saw the interview with Harrison Ford, talking about how glad he was that his character finally got killed. It hurt me inside to hear how much disdain he had for that character. I was like, fuck you. We brought you up. You have to acknowledge your Han Solo forever.
There is no Indiana Jones. There is no Harrison Ford. Without Han Solo,
They're equal parts, though, to me.
None of that happens.
Right?
He doesn't get Michael Myers.
The cut-in.
That's funny. So they're the reboot. They're rebooting.
They are.
Or part 3. The official. All the other shit isn't canon anymore.
3,
this is part 3. Halloween part 3. The official
with Laurie Strode.
With fucking Jennifer or Janet, or not Janet Leigh, her daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
Yeah,
not rebooted by Rob Zombie.
You know what? And they're kind of calling it. I've heard them call it a soft reboot, which is like what a producer thing to say, you know?
Right? I don't even know what to call that.
Yeah, I'm just not fucking. I'm not into it. I don't know. I heard on a couple different shows about the script.
Really?
And they all say the same thing, that it takes place in a prison where they are executing Michael Myers, finally.
After he's moved from the mental hospital to...
Or they're all of a sudden executing people in the fucking insane asylum, which
they finally got
really
the green
wrong.
light to burn him?
Yeah, and apparently how they get teenagers into the movie is either...
Because they need some to die.
They either have the daughter of a victim, or I think it's the daughter of the town sheriff that sneaks in with some friends to watch the execution. So that's how they get teenagers into this fucking prison.
Nice.
Otherwise, they'd just be killing inmates and whoever the fuck else happens to be in a prison.
How can you have, like, the sneak-off sex scene where he comes and kills him? If it's all
right. Fucking in a prison. And there's going to be those two asshole thrill fuckers who are like, oh, that girl's going to be like, fuck me in a prison cell. He's going to be like, all right. The dumbass.
They're the first to die.
And they are going to be the first to die, yeah, for sure. But I don't know how I feel about that fucking shit. I can't judge it yet either.
Yeah,
we'll see. It might be fucking amazing.
Top-notch trailer yet, so we'll wait and see.
But those other 2 later ones that Jamie Lee Curtis was in, fucking sucked.
H2O
was a pile of shit. And then I think the other one was Resurrection.
Yeah, I don't know. It had Exhibit in it.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it did.
It was Busta Rhymes.
Okay, whatever. That's the same guy, isn't it?
It's Busta Rhymes.
Anyway.
To be fair, it was Busta. It was.
Well, we're gonna save this for another episode because we're gonna talk Halloween and the whole box set anyway. All right. So, all right, that's a wrap. Thanks for listening.